Hello traders, Lance Ippolito here. Let's get to the free video. It is Sunday, so the Sunday night foreshadowing the week ahead, and a couple things I want to look at here. Because again, when the markets are kind of choppy up and down, like they have been, the whole you know kind of strategy is to play smart, play it safe. And what I want to look at first is steel names like letter X. So a lot of people message me on letter X and the steel names because they either see call flow or the Trump administration with the steel news, steel is going to have a huge rally. Well, possibly, but for right now, this is kind of my whole ordeal. So you have letter X and a lot of steel names in general, which are kind of beaten up. And yes, some days they go up, let's say from 20 to 22 or 21 to 22. But if you really zoom in and look at the ways the steel names have been trading for the past couple months, they're just not trending. They're sideways as can be. So why try to be a hero and try to buy here and sell here to make a little bit of money? That's a very difficult game. So if something's uncertain, my whole thing is why even play it when there's better options out there? And the same situation applies to biotechs. I know people are dying to get into biotechs, and trust me, I understand, especially if you were um, around in 2014, 2015, they had such a nice run to the upside, and even prior to that, biotechs have been so hot. And then really for the past really year or so, they just haven't done anything, even though the Nasdaq's made new highs and such like that. But biotechs, this is, you really have to zoom in, because if you really zoom in on the biotechs and the biotech ETF, all biotech had was really a 1, 2, 3, 4 day event. And you see the elevated volume here. Now, with the healthcare news and everything, political situation with a big question mark, it's where do you go? What's the next step? If there's no news on healthcare, this is exactly what happens. Biotech just chops around sideways. If there's negative news, they completely reverse, and then, the bears win. If there's news that is bullish and the street likes it, obviously they're going to break out to the upside. The problem is, just like with letter X, when does that happen? And I don't know. Um, and instead of guessing, trying to buy call options, up in here and having them just erode away basically with that theta decay, why even get involved in biotech yet? So something you could keep on the watch list, but again, I think it's a news event um, from the political situation. And then the last thing, it's coming up with earnings this week, is banks like JP Morgan and Citigroup. I'll discuss this in the premium video, but what I'm going to look to do is play names that are correlated, maybe Bank of America, Goldman, Morgan Stanley, other financial names instead of buying the volatility in Citigroup and JP Morgan. And that the same applies to Delta. Delta has earnings later this week. Delta's breaking out to new 52-week highs. Instead of catching the run up, I think the smart money was already made. I'm going to look to play airliners like AAL. Um, that report, I believe, the 28th expiration options. So in AAL, I have a price target 56.20. If we break above that, stock should rip higher, and use these options to play Delta's earnings. Obviously, if Delta goes up, AAL will go up, and I don't have to buy that expensive volatility. Thanks, everyone.